What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Got a real interesting dude on today. He's doing some big things in his life, trying to help save the youth after doing like 28 years in prison. But you know what? He can tell his story better than I can. Warren, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's talk about you.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity to share my story. I did 28 years in prison for a murder that was proven in court I did not do. I fell under that felony murder law, where if you with somebody and they kill somebody, you just as guilty. Me and my man, we did almost 30 years. Well, I did 28, he did 32. We both home now. He worked for me at Sasha Bruce Youth Work. We mentor in youth. We go into juvenile prisons like New Beginnings, Outlaw, Maryland. We go into YSC, that's Youth Service Center out DC, and just working with the youth, trying to change lives, trying to be mentor, be big brother to them, trying to give them what a lot of the men in prison gave us when we came in. We just out here doing it. And I'm painting. I got my artwork, so doing a lot of shows, doing a lot of events, got a lot of stuff going on. Just did a live painting for the Mystics not too long ago. But I'm here. I'm blessed. I've been home 5 years, and I'm loving life right now.
Let's talk about what led you to prison, right? You did 28 years in Maryland, right?
Maryland.
So what happened, and how do you end up with a 28-year sentence for a murder that you didn't commit?
I was sentenced to natural life plus 5 years, right? I was born in the Philippines. I came to the United States when I was 6 months old. I came here 6 months old, grew up out initially out Montrose, Virginia. It's like it's out there, it's in the woods. It's like there wasn't that many people in Montrose, Virginia. In that whole county, Westmoreland County, you only had one high school, that's Washington Lee High School back then, and it was like 400 students in there. So I was real big in the art, real big in drawing, real big in just creating. And I wanted to go to art school. But my father, he wanted me to go to military. He wanted me to go to the military like he did. He said, if you want to go to college, if you want to go to school, go to the military. And it caused a big rift with us because I wanted to paint, I wanted to draw. I didn't want to go to the military. I didn't want to fight no war for nobody. But so we had a big falling out. And in the midst of that, I ended up leaving. Came to Maryland, out PG County, Prince George's County with my mom. And immediately it was a culture shock for me. One, because it was a big county from what I was used to, right on the outskirts of DC. And it was real fast. It was a lot fast. And I probably couldn't handle it at my young age. And I really felt I didn't fit in. When I got around other Filipinos, to them, I was just a country boy from Virginia. So I was angry, I was miserable, and I was in the streets. But eventually, I linked up with a couple dudes that was also Filipino, and they were doing a lot of dirt. And for me to fit in with them, I was going 10 times harder than them. And 20 days after my 17th birthday, I just made a decision that impacted my life, impacted my homies' life, impacted my families and the victims. Like we decided to rob somebody, and it went left. I got hit with a 12 gauge. I didn't have a lot of experience doing that type of stuff. So when it happened, I got hit with a 12 gauge and I was unconscious. I woke up the next day being arrested for felony murder and use of a handgun in the commission of a felony, right? And I was telling everybody that I know, man, I ain't kill nobody. But it didn't matter, right? In Maryland, they have a law called felony murder. If you're with someone and someone loses their life in the commission of a felony, everyone is just as guilty. And I was sentenced just like the trigger man, natural life plus 5 years. Me and my co-defendant both, we both had the similar sentence. And I came home after doing 28 years. He came home after doing 32 years. And we out here now, and we just living, and we just trying to make changes. We trying to change lives. But that's what led me to prison. Just me, just getting caught up making dumb decisions.
Let me ask you a question, right? Because a lot of young dudes are out there doing robberies, doing stuff that they're not really thinking, right? The dude that you're allegedly going to rob, and I mean, he loses his life. What was it for, though? Was he a drug dealer? Was he just, some dude with a job? What type of dude was it?
Nah, his name was John Milton Branch. He was an older gentleman. He was minding his business, and we was stupid, right? And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We was walking, and our destination was far away, and it was June. It was hot as fuck, and we just made a decision. We were like, we're gonna do something right now. We're gonna get this, and we're gonna keep it moving. But I don't know what type of life he was living. I just know when we whipped out, he whipped out, and we got fight or flight, and everybody got fight or flight. But my instinct, he pulled out a 12 gauge out the corner. I grabbed it like this. He was like 6'5", 200 some pounds. At the time, I was like 5'7", maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. And he when I grabbed the shotgun, he pushed me off there, hit me right here. I got hit right here with a 12 gauge, and I was knocked out. So as for him, you know, I always give honor to him, the victim, because he didn't deserve to go out like that. He wasn't in the streets. He wasn't selling drugs. He wasn't doing none of that, as far as I know. Right? We just did some stupid shit, and it went left. So I be trying to tell them youngest all the time, yeah, you might go out here and think just fighting somebody and doing all that stuff cool, but if you fighting and he fall down, hit his head, you done. You think you cool because you riding around with some dudes and they're doing a lot of dirt, and they ain't changed that law in Maryland. If you do some dumbass shit, and your man do some dumbass shit, you gonna be just as guilty as him. You know what I'm saying? So, and they gonna smash you. They ain't playing with people in Maryland. They give life sentence out like it ain't nothing. And in Maryland, if you get a life sentence, you done. It's like now a lot of us that did like 25, 30, 35, 40 years, we just now coming home because they changed some laws in the system. They changed laws with juvenile laws. They changed the joint where the governor got to sign your papers if you were lifer. I had 5 parole hearings, and I got smacked in the head every one of them. And everybody in the prison was saying if they give any lifer parole, it would be Warren Hynson because of the stuff that I was doing in prison and the people that had my back. But it didn't happen. The judge still, the governor, Larry Hogan, denied my shit. It was sat on his desk. All the parole board members, they had an M-bank, and they all approved me for parole. But it got on his desk. He denied it with no explanation, didn't write any reason, didn't do anything. He just said denied. So at that time, it was like 2014. I had to do 5 more years for me to max out my time. And after 28 years, I walked out that door and I'm home.
Let's talk about that prison system, right? And the reason I asked you about, what was the robbery for, because a lot of times, man, we do, the reward is petty, and the consequences are extremely harsh. I mean, for you, this man lost his life, a mother lost a son, and in a sense, your mother and father lost a son too, because you were really buried alive for 28 years in a prison, right?
It's crazy you said that, because during my sentencing in Upper Marlboro, that's Prince George's County Court, right? During my sentencing, the judge, he looked at me. He had his gavel in his hand. Let me grab something real quick. Matter of fact, I got a screwdriver right here, but he had a gavel in his hand. He was like, he said, Mr. Hynson, I know you may have remorse because the victim's family lost a loved one. He was like, but I got news for you. And he linked in. He was like, your family's losing a loved one because you're going to prison for the rest of your natural life. And that's how he said. He was banging that gavel so hard, and it felt like he was shooting me with each one. It felt like he was shooting me, right? But in my mind, because I was ignorant to the law, I was ignorant to everything else that was going on. I was 17 years old. In my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna be home by 1996. I thought I was gonna be home in 5 years. 5 years came and went multiple times, right? And I grew up in there. I was raised by men in there to be responsible. I was raised by men in there to make great decisions, make better decisions. And while I was in there, I was just programming. I was staying out the way. I got caught up in some stuff early in my bit, but a lot of the men took me under the wings and they taught me how to be a man. And as I grew up, I did the same thing for a lot of the youngers that was coming in there. I took them under my wing and I raised them to be men. And now, since I've been home, that's what I'm doing out here too. Trying to work with these youngers, trying to raise them to be men. Tell
these young dudes what it felt like to be a teenager getting a life sentence, man. What did it feel like in that moment, man? Did it hurt?
Hell yeah, that don't hurt. When I think it really hit me when I went back to the unit, and when I went back to the jail, Upper Marlboro, a lot of the other young dudes on the TIG came to my door and they was like, man, what happened? What happened? And I just put up the L and I was like, man, they gave me life. So just seeing that look on their faces, they was like, man, that's crazy. Like you got life. And everybody else on the wing, they was getting like 5 years, 10 year sentences or whatever, right? But I think when I went into the penitentiary in Baltimore City, Maryland Penitentiary, we called it Castle Grayskull because it looked like a castle. When I went in there, it was a bunch of young dudes just like me. It was shocking that you had guys in there that was 14 years old, 15 years old. My man Lil Eddie, my man Tico, they Latinos, they was 14 and 15, but there was a lot of them in there. We was teenagers in there, we was babies in there. And as the years went by, we seen each other get older. We seen each other grades start popping in our heads, grades starting beards, and it's like really like that movie Life. Like you really seeing people, like all of us grew up in there. But I think what hit me was when I asked the dude how long he was locked up, and he said at that time I probably was in there probably like 2 months. He said he had 11 years in. A Muslim guy named Mujahid. He was like, man, he said, I've been locked up 11 years. I said, man, I can't even see 11 years down the road. He said, well, look around. He said, you better get glasses. He said, because everybody in here, he said he'd been in that prison there 11 years in Maryland Penitentiary. And in those 11 years, probably 5 people went home, right? Ain't that back in the days, those prisons right there, you hit somebody, you stab somebody, you ain't getting sent to another building. You ain't getting sent to another jail. You come off lockup, you right back in the yard with them, with everybody else. So men get involved. Men learn how to politic. Men squash beefs. Men try to make sure everything stay cool, so we can get the stuff that we trying to get inside the prison, right? So that's one thing I learned. Like when you see stuff about to jump off, you see stuff about to go haywire. You know who to talk to. You know the men in the prison that can politic, that can talk to the people that's gonna squash this stuff. And when I was young in that penitentiary, I was so scared when I first came in there. But you get over that fear so quick because you got to grow up. It's either you gonna grow up or you gonna die in that joint, right? And when I came in there, it's like I think when I got my first fight, the same guy Mujahid, I fought the dude in the kitchen at breakfast time, and he sat me down. He was like, man, look. When I came off lockup, he was like, just because you got a life sentence don't mean it's the end of your life. He said, you can do this, you can do that, you can go to school, you can get your GED. Back then they had Coppin State College in there, they had University of Baltimore in there. You can go to college, you can get your degree, you can go to the law library, you can work on your case, you can get home. So that gave me a little hope. I was like, man, I didn't know that you can go in there and work on your case, find a loophole, and get home. I didn't know that because a lot of people weren't telling us young as that. So as we got older, we made sure we were schooling a lot of the youngest on law. If we didn't know it, we point them in the right direction. I was part of programs where we had like the best lawyers in Maryland coming in telling us what they do, and if we wanted to retain them, we can retain them. If we just wanted to start a relationship, like correspondence with them, we could start that. So we was doing some good stuff in there. In that dismal, dark place we was doing, there was some light in there, and we made it happen.
There's always some good stuff in prison. The public don't really know about that. They know about the bad shit that makes the news and dudes getting killed. But I mean, in Baltimore, I mean, in that Maryland Department of Corrections, it's pretty dangerous at times too, right?
Oh hell yeah! I was in the MHC Annex. That's the Maryland House of Corrections Annex back in '96, if I'm not mistaken, right? And matter of fact, it was even '96 and '97. They had a big riot, right? And but this prison was set up. It was 6 different buildings, A through F building, right? And you had the big cafeteria, you had the gym, but everybody's separated by buildings, so you don't get to see a lot of people unless y'all playing sports, unless you going to programs together. You don't get to see a lot of people. So when you did see people, it was like a lot of tension because you didn't know them. It wasn't like the penitentiary or the cut where everybody wrecked together, everybody eat together, like all 1,000. It's like that. But in this one in particular, it was segregated. We were separated. So when we did see each other, it was a lot of tension. It was like different hoods seeing each other, right? If we play football games, I'm in F building, we play in E building, or whatever, vice versa. It got ugly. It was always ugly in that joint. But this particular year, it was summertime. It was hot, and I was in E building, and I remember it just jumped off in, if I'm not mistaken, C building. Like a ragged dudes attacked some officers, and they just went on the compound, and it was crazy because in our building, we looking at the news, seeing this shit, and they trying to control us, trying to lock us in, but it was chaotic. We was locked down for 6 months. We on the tears every day. We was starting fires. We was throwing stuff on the police. We was doing stuff because they was trying to torture us in there. Right after that ride, they locked us down. They cut the water off for a couple of weeks. They was feeding us bullshit. They would give us like 1 donut for breakfast. For lunch, they would give us like a boiled egg, and for dinner they would give like us a piece of bologna. and we would have to hold everything just to make one meal. You know what I'm saying? They did that for weeks, and it took a long time for us to get off. And I was in the cut, the Maryland House of Corrections in 2006 when Officer David McGuinn was murdered. He was killed, and they locked us down for 6 months. That same year, 3 dudes got killed in the prison. Another officer got stabbed, and then the officer got killed. So we never seen daylight for a long time. They locked us in our cells, and you had guys from minimum security coming in cleaning up, but they was treating us just as fucked up as the COs for whatever reason, right? So it was an ugly time. I remember I put a big ass sign on my door for all the COs. It said unbreakable, because ain't no matter what they was gonna do to me or do to the man on the till. We want being broken, man. And I was a dude that had shit. Like, I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't robbing people inside the joint, but I was hustling. I was hustling my paintings. I was doing portraits for guys. I was doing a lot of shit. I was stacking money. I ran a store. So when we went on lockdown, I had hundreds and hundreds of canned foods. I had food, and I made sure a lot of the men on the tier had food, because we ain't had shit. They weren't giving us shit. So I made sure everybody ate. I ran out of food probably by the second month, but I made sure everybody was straight, and everybody that was in the system will tell you that I looked out for people, and I ain't nobody can say nothing bad about me in that Maryland system, and everybody that speak about me or know me is gonna come with some respect, and me as well when I run into the men that was in there, and we all.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right, Warren? You said you put the sign on unbreakable, but were there days of being locked in a cell where it started to affect you mentally, emotionally, and hurt you inside?
Of course. I went in as a child. I went in 5'5", 130 pounds with no hair on my face. And I remember, especially after I talked to that dude, Mujahid, and he said he did 11 years. At the time, he had 11 years in. It got dark for me, because it was like, man, like, this shit crazy. This shit is crazy. And when you in a cell, it's just you and your thoughts. And if you ain't control of your thoughts, people think they control their mind, but really your mind control you. If you haven't practiced any tools to get control of it, and your mind will start thinking about a million different things, and a lot of those different things is gonna make you depressed. It's gonna make you sad. It's gonna make you angry. It's gonna make you bitter. It's gonna make you want to do some shit, right? So yeah, there was times where I remember I was in North Branch. That's Ultramax out there in Cumberland, Maryland, right? And I was in a single cell, and we in the mountains, far away from I wasn't getting no visits out there. And I remember just sitting there. It's like 2008, so I had many years in. I've been through a lot of shit already, but it was like, I said, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, especially this prison here, because it was so crazy. It was wild, and it wasn't me fearing nobody in a joint go do nothing to me. The fear was the way the COs was carrying it. I don't know, as a man, could I keep taking the shit, right? And I was thinking I was gonna slip back into a dark place and gonna crush one of them. And I cried. I was in my cell crying, because I said, like, man, I don't want to go backwards. I said, I'm close to the door. I said, even though I had many years to do since then, but I felt like I was close to the door, and I just had to get out that prison. And luckily, they hit my door one day and said I was getting transferred back to Jessup, because it was ugly. I remember just sitting there like, man, how can this judge? And this was 2008, and I got locked up in 91. I remember, I was thinking, how can this judge look at a 17-year-old kid, right, and understand his whole situation, even understand all the facts in the case? How could he really look at me in my eyes and tell me, I'm sentencing you to natural life plus 5 years? I couldn't, and I probably was drinking and everything, and it just got me. And I remember that's the first time I really broke down after all them years.
Let me ask you this, right? Not on no cop shit or nothing like that, but there's other people that'll watch this video, right? And I actually had a discussion, kind of a debate with a guy not too long ago, where he was like, if you kill someone, they should kill you. I don't care how old you are. I know I do a lot of cases for a lot of dudes, man, that were young that got life sentences. And we kind of went back and forth, right? But, I want to ask you this the right way, without, not meant in any disrespectful way, but do you ever feel like the family on the other side might be like, well, yeah, you did deserve life because he didn't get a second chance? How would you respond to that? Because I had that debate with this cat about a month ago. How do you respond to that? And then I'll tell you how I responded.
The way I have been asked stuff like that, because a friend of mine named Wayne Bruton Bay, he created a victim awareness seminar in one of the prisons I was in the victim awareness seminar, you had victims of various crimes coming to our prison in our library, right? And there were probably like 50 of us, and they got up one at a time and told their stories. The victims did, right? And I went in thinking, I really, I'm here, but I ain't really trying to be here today, right? But after listening to the victims' families and listening to their pain, listening to the struggle they went through, they have the motherfucking human rights to feel that way. They got the right to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And when I got up there and spoke, because a couple of us were able to speak, and I got up there and I said this, right? I said a lot of us pat ourselves on the back. We congratulate each other for all these changes that we made in our lives, all these positive changes. I went to school in there. I created programs in there. I did a lot of positive stuff in there. I said we pat ourselves on the back. Yeah, good job. You doing it, you doing that. Forgetting that the victims in our cases still got families that are out there suffering, right? And there was a lady that spoke during the victim awareness seminar, and when I looked right at her, and I told her this, right? I said during my sentencing, and when I went back and got my time cut, I said during my sentencing, and in 2001 when I got my time cut to 40, I didn't tell that part. In 2001, my sentence was reduced to 43 years, right? From life to 43 years. But I was telling her that the victim's wife wasn't in attendance, right? I wanted more than anything at that moment when I got my time cut to apologize to her on a bigger level than I did during my trial, right? So I was telling the woman, I said, when I heard her speak up there at the podium, I said I was imagining the victim in my case. I was imagining his wife up there speaking. And I said, I want to apologize to you like I would apologize to her right now if you don't mind. And I did. And that shit had everybody in there crying. Like, I know the impact. I ain't one of them dudes, yeah, I did this shit. I'm fake gangster shit, all that stuff. I'm a real dude. I'm a real man. I made some mistakes. I fucked up when I was young. I went to prison. And and anybody tell you in prison, I never faked like I was a gangster. I never faked like I was this. I never took no shit. And if somebody brought it to me, I'm gonna handle mine. I always stood on mine, right? And I never disrespected nobody, never violated nobody. But I got caught up in stuff. But I know to get back to your question, I feel victims have the right. If somebody did something to my son right now, who's in the next room right over here, if somebody did something to my son, I'm going back to prison. I'm going back to prison. I'm talking about like ain't no Wayne thing, ain't none of that. Because I know that that's the code, that's the law, that's your family, that's my son, right? So for the victim in my case, if any of his family felt like that, I can't do nothing but respect it because they're supposed to feel like that. Now, if they're going to try to act on it, then I'm going to have to defend myself, right? But I wouldn't even be mad at them. A friend of mine told me a long time ago, a lesson I learned when I was in the penitentiary was because this dude had attacked the dude in the dining room. And then later on, his friends attacked that guy in the shower. And then later on, it was going back and forth. And he said, everybody doing what they're supposed to do. He said, how could you be mad at somebody for getting back at you, but you crushed their brother? You know what I'm saying? That's the law of the land. That's the shit that happens. So,
Very hard. It's a very hard question to answer when you're on this side. You know what I mean? And
right.
When I got in the debate with that guy, of course, I do criminal defense work. So, I'm like, nah, bro, you shouldn't just kill this dude. This kid was a kid. And I had to listen to what he had to say. But also my response was, look, man, this kid had a bad life. I feel for the victim. The victim lost their life. They don't get a second chance. They don't get to get out of prison. They're dead. They're gone. Right? But this kid didn't have a shot in the world. When he was 7 years old, his mother took him to, the county court building and dropped him off. He said, where are we going? He said, we're going to court. He never seen his mother again. But the mother dropped this. And the kid's name's Laval Farmer, right? Been in prison 20-something years, done more programs than anybody I've ever seen, wrote programs, re-entry programs. Dude really turned his life around. But as a kid, the father was abusing the kids. They were eating rice with ketchup on it for dinner because the mother was selling the food stamps. When they did something wrong, like they did steal a piece of meat, she'd make them stand outside on the fire escape outside in Brooklyn in November. like, what chance did that kid really have in life, right? He didn't have a role model. He didn't really have a mother. He didn't have a father. He didn't have a shot in hell at life, and he made some irrational, irresponsible decisions. And then I talked to him about the brain development when we're young, and I'm not sure if that's how you ended up, getting your reduction, but I'm sure that might be the reason. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I explained, the brain development under the age of 24, not just the Supreme Court, but what science says. And I broke that down to him, and he still felt like, I don't care what the situation is. If you kill someone, that's it. You should die. All right. You know what? The debate's going nowhere. I'm not going to make you see my point. You're not going to see mine. But I do believe in redemption, and I do believe that, people can change, especially when they're young and you don't have any guidance in life. So that was pretty much my response. So with that being said, how did you get the reduction?
I think probably 1999. I had 8 years in, and I became involved in a program they had in the prison at the time called Positive Change, right? And Change was I'm sorry, not that program. Positive Change was when I created many years later. This was called Impact Program. This was in the Maryland House of Corrections. So from I got my dates wrong. It's 1999. From 1999 to 2006, I was doing the Impact Program, right? And what we did was we took troubled youth from the community, the schools, even that was connected to the juvenile system, group homes, shelters, whatever. They would come in maybe 10 to 15 at a time. We would take them in the tour of the prison. And this was in the most dangerous prison in Maryland. It was the Maryland House of Corrections. So at least once a week from 1999 to 06, I was taking youth on prison tours. There's 8 of us. Impact Program. We take them around the jail. I'm talking about in-housing areas. We was taking them in the barbershop, taking them in the dining rooms, taking them in the it's all around. Took them in the yard, took them in the gym, all that stuff. And we told them about each place. And then we got up into the school and the library area, and one at a time we got up there and told them our stories, right? So by the time I think around that time, we went to go hire the lawyer, Fred Bennett. He was, everybody know in Maryland at the time, he was like the best lawyer in Maryland, right? He was the best lawyer. He was getting so many guys home. So I hired Fred Bennett, but he said, wait till you have 10 years in, right? This was like 90, probably like 99 we trying to hire. So in 01, hit him back again. He was like, look, I got 10 years in. So he was asking me for all the stuff I was doing. And I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters from youth that came through the Impact Program. Impact stood for inmates making a positive attempt to collectively educate teens. So I had so many letters from all these churches, all these organizations, all these staff, but the impact came from the youth letters, like where they at, and then like now because of the program that we ran, right? So my lawyer hooked it up. My lawyer, he went up there. He told him all the stuff that I went back to court on reconsideration, right? It was a modification. So that I didn't even know. I was ignorant to a lot of the law. I didn't know that I had the reconsideration on my step docket since my sentencing, right? So when Fred was like, look, man, you got this reconsideration, but wait till you get 10 years in and do some positive stuff and don't get no tickets. Man, I was walking on eggshells, make sure I ain't cursing nobody out, make sure I ain't missed the door, make no dumb shit to get no stupid tickets. So when I finally went to court, you know how judges and lawyers and all, they got relationships, they've been on stuff before. I could tell right away that it was going to be a good day, because when I walked in the courtroom, my lawyer, he was just sitting there chilling. He didn't look like he was stressed. He said, man, you ready to speak? I said, yeah. He said, how long is it going to be? I said, probably like 8 minutes. He said, make it 3 minutes, because if you speak too long, you're going to step on your dick. That's how he said it, right? I said, bet. So then the judge came out. It was William Mazur, the same judge that sentenced me, right? William D. Mazur. He was sitting there eating a bag of chips, spinning in his chair during the hearing, right? And I'm like, man, it's like they just going through the motions. So I think at the time in legislation, they was trying to take the the parole out of the governor's hands, right? So my lawyer was making a point that life was in Maryland, especially at that time, you weren't making parole. You can go 20 years without getting one ticket, one infraction, and you can go for your parole with an immaculate record, and they will not give you parole because they know if they approve it and they go to the governor is going to deny it no matter what you do. Just like I went through 5 times. And the governor going to deny it because governors have aspirations to be a president one day or a higher political office than what they were doing. So they didn't want to take a chance, like the Willie Horton case, and letting somebody go, right? And I know Willie Horton personally. I was in justice with him, right? His crime was in Texas, but he in Maryland. He in the Maryland system right now to this day, right? So that judges didn't want to take a chance on governors didn't want to take a chance on letting you go home, because if you go home and you fuck up, it's going to hurt them politically down the line. So in essence, every lifer in Maryland is a political prisoner because it's politics that's keeping us in, right? That kept them in, right? But yeah, so the judge took everything into consideration. My lawyer was asking for 20 years sentence at that time, but the judge was like, I'm not gonna give you 20 years like your lawyer asked for. He said the crime was still heavy, blah blah blah. But he was like, I'm gonna cut your time. You're not. He said, leave here today knowing you're not a lifer no more. So I felt, I came. The bus ride back to the prison was like everything I was seeing, man. I was just feeling good. I was seeing kids on bikes. I was seeing people pissed at being stuck in traffic. I was like, man, I wish I could be out here stuck in traffic. You know what I'm saying? You seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, man, one day I'm getting ready to be out here. But when I got the letter from the judge, he said my sentence was cut to 43 years. In Maryland, if you have a life suspended sentence, you're going to do 70% of that number. So at the time I had 10 years in, and I get this to say 43 years, and I'm doing the math on my calculator. It say like 70% of 43 is like 26 years. So I'm like, man, I'm still gonna do like another 16 years. In the end, I did another 18, right? Because I bullshit on some jobs, not getting the good days that I should have got. But yeah, man, it was crazy, but it felt good not to be a lifer no more, because I was seeing dudes locked up 30, 40, 50 years not going home.
28 years. Let me ask you this, right? Something that you've seen in prison that affected you mentally and emotionally. I mean, it may be something violent, might be a riot, might be climbing the fence, getting stuck in the razor wire. What's something that bothered you? Something that you've seen?
I think what bothered me the most, right? Because I mentored a lot of youth in there. I raised men raised me in there, and I raised a lot of youngins in there to be men, right? So I think what bothered me the most is a young guy. He was in a gang, and then I'm not gonna say the gang. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was a dude that was trying to change his life. He was trying to program, getting into college courses, and a lot of stuff that we was doing. We was getting guys out of gangs, right? If a kid showed interest that he was trying to go to college, he was trying to program. I've been locked up so long. I was locked up so long that I knew a lot of the gang leaders, right? And me and a lot of guys in my circle, we knew guys that ran the gangs because they were us. We grew up together. We were kids in there, and they went one way. A lot of us went some positive route, a lot of went negative route, but we grew up together and we had relationships. You know what I'm saying? So when a youngin want to get out of a gang, we would try to find out exactly what. I would talk to whoever the leader is, see if something can be done with them to get out, where they not gonna get stabbed up, not gonna get jumped. And if they say it's $200, we would go around with a laundry bag, collecting food, collecting whatever, to try to get that $200 and give it to them, and they would give them their walking papers. You know what I'm saying? We was doing stuff like that, but there's one kid in particular. He was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to get out, and he was actually getting ready to go home in like 2 weeks. But people was in his gang. They were beefing with somebody, and you already know, the law. If you told to hit somebody and you don't do it, you the one gonna be hit. And he ended up taking the hit, and he hit this dude, crushed him, and that was probably like maybe over 10 years ago, and that boy still ain't home to this day, right?
He was going home in 2 weeks and had to crush someone.
Like, there's so many guys in there that they could have got to do this hit, but it's like they know he was getting ready to go home, so they made him do it. Man, it shit fucked me up because I'm like, man, we was trying to help this kid, and he went left, and I don't even know where he at now. So I think that really it really fucked me up because I know people go in, like you said, bro, redemption. People go in there and they might have an awakening moment. They trying to change their life, but that crab in the barrel, John, man, people just try to pull you back down. So that kind of threw me off. And other than that, nothing bad ever happened to me in there, right? So I can't say nothing for me. I just got in a couple fights, early in my bit, but I seen many people get stabbed, seen many people get jumped. I was in ECI, that's Eastern Correctional Institute out there in Westover, Maryland, right? I think that's what it's called, Westover, Maryland. But there was 2 dudes attacked the dude in the day room with Jack Mackerel in the sock, the big ass cans of Jack Mackerel in the sock. And one of them got him good, but he ended up getting the sock from one of the guys. And he beat the dog shit out of these dudes. And they had blood all over the day room. You would think somebody got like stabbed up 100 times, but it was the cans. And he got credit. That was the ugliest thing I seen. Like personally, I seen that shit fucked me up. And just talking about it right now, I just remember seeing that shit that day because they got what they got what they asked for. But man, it was ugly.
Warren, how long you been out now?
This September be 5 years.
5 years. What keeps you out of prison, brother?
My wife, she the real gangster. My wife Tracy, she promised my mother when I first met her. My mom, I went in when I was 17. So when I came home, I was living with my mom in her small apartment. And my mom was very paranoid anytime I went out that door because she was scared her baby might make a decision and go back to jail, whatever. So when I met my wife and she met my mom just asked her, like, promise me that you wanna make sure he won't ever do some stupid shit to go back to jail. And she promised her. So my wife don't let me get away with nothing, right? If she see me doing anything, she on me. And I'm not gonna do nothing anyway, because the stuff I'm doing out here, right, it's so rewarding. Like I can't even anytime I'm aware of me getting angry or me getting hot about something, when I feel it, through mindfulness practice, when I feel it coming, I know how to check it. I know how to balance myself. And in my truck, I got a rock, right? This rock that was in the Maryland House of Corrections in the yard, right? I heard a story about this guy in the penitentiary that went home. His name was Ray Bay. He went home and he kept a rock in his pocket, right, from the penitentiary yard. And every day he would like play with that rock just to make sure he know where he been at. He remember where he been at. And I got that joint in my car, in my truck, hanging from my mirror. So when I'm driving, I see that joint. I'm always remembering, man, you came far, man. You came far. Like you home, you doing great. Like I'm a program manager at one of the biggest nonprofits in Washington, D.C. that work with youth, right? Sasha Bruce Youth Work. I don't know if you heard the Credible Messenger program in D.C., but I'm a program manager at one of the providers for the Credible Messenger program. And we go into the juvenile prisons. We go into even D.C. jail. We go into the schools. And we work with the youth that's committed to DYS. That's the Division of Youth Rehabilitation Services. And that's post-committed. And we do groups with them. We take them on activities. We keep them positive. We help them go to school. I got some youngins enrolled to VCU, Bowie State, and Lincoln Tech, taking the trade courses at Lincoln Tech. So we doing a lot of positive work out here, and I make sure I got a team of 8 credible messengers. Make sure they see them youth every week. Make sure they engaging with them and helping them get jobs, helping them get whatever they need. So though they keep me out here, they keep me going.
That's what's up. You can't fail. People are counting on you. You became the change that you sought to see in other people, and you're doing the right thing. And you know what, man? I commend you for all the stuff. I didn't know you were doing that much stuff before before you just mentioned it. I also know that you got that painting thing going on. I've seen a bunch of your paintings, man. You do some really good paintings. I'm going to plug your link in, so if people want to reach out to you, maybe they can buy some paintings from you or portraits of their family. Some of the best artists I ever seen were in prison. So tell people how they can find you, though.
My name, Warren Hynson, is right here on the screen. My website is warrenhynson.com. My Instagram is Warren Hynson. Everything, all my social media is my name. And my Facebook is Warren Hynson Art. But you can go on my link. You can go on my Instagram and see my link tree. You gonna post my link tree. They can see other interviews I did. They can see articles I've been in, magazines and stuff, and they can see my website, my Instagram, and see my artwork. I do. I'm in a couple galleries. Culture Gallery out here in Waldorf, and that's the biggest one I'm in right now. But I do a lot of shows in DC. I just did an event with the Washington Mystics, painted live at one of their non-violence, like gun violence prevention events. I did a whole live painting there. I'm doing something else with the Mystics. I can't speak on that right now. They something big. Gary come, and I did some artwork for them, and I'm also getting ready to do something that's going to go in the White House in October, right? I'm painting. This non-violence organization reached out to me and asked me to do this, paint a statue that they have that's going in the White House in October. So I got some things going. I definitely sell my work. You can check out my work on my website, on Instagram, and just let me know what you're trying to do, and then we can make it happen, man. But that's what I do all day. I work. I do my stuff I got to do with the youth. I come in my studio and I paint, and I go home to my wife, go home to my son, and just came along.
That's what's up, man. Be the best father you could be. Listen, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, your experiences. I'm gonna tell people, man, you can check out this brother's links, check out his paintings. They're really good. And again, brother, man, I commend you for all that you're doing, man. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.